All right, welcome back everyone. We're going to be covering a very important topic today when it comes to handling leads and setting appointments, and that is going to be what's commonly referred to as a very dreaded process of sales is handling rebuttals and getting over those objections. So the challenging part with objections, especially in the insurance space, is that they come at all different times, from all different angles, from all different people, from all different reasons. But it all boils down to one point, is people just want to be reassured. So when you get somebody on the phone, you could have the objection come right in the beginning. Sometimes they come in the middle of the application process. Sometimes they come at the end of the presentation. They can come at any time. So we want to make sure that you are truly understanding the purpose of a rebuttal and making them flow seamlessly into your presentation. What I mean by seamlessly flowing is that when somebody presents an objection, whether it's I can't afford it, how long is this going to take, I don't remember filling this out, you don't want to seem like that question or that concern is throwing you off. You want to acknowledge what they said, give them an appropriate response so they feel heard and they feel that that response actually fulfilled what their question was. You want to maybe make some sort of subtle joke or comedic relief to kind of get them laughing and let those guards come down. And then the fourth and final stage of handling the rebuttal is the seamless transition back into the sales process. So when you're talking and watching someone who's done sales for a long time, when you see them handle rebuttals, you almost don't even know that they're going off course with their presentation. Everybody has their sales process, what they start with, how they explain things, how they do their closing, and the rebuttals are going to be dropped in all different places. Sometimes you get 10 of them in one meeting, sometimes you get none, sometimes you get 3. So we're going to go over a couple of the common ones today just to get you guys an idea of how to handle these processes. And again, you can go on our Facebook page, Insurance Toolkits. You can go on insurancetoolkits.com and start a live chat with us. Or you can email me directly, colton@fextoolkit.com, and we will send you a copy of this at no charge. So the first one that we'll go over today is a very common one of the how long does this take? So very common, you're going to get someone on the phone who says, how long does this take? I don't have time for this phone call. I'm at work. I'm picking up my kid from school. I get off late tomorrow. I'm traveling this weekend. I just don't have time for this. This is going to take too long. And they're going to be very agitated. So again, we want to address what they said so they feel heard. We want to deliver an appropriate response to actually answer that question. We don't want to gloss over it. We want them to feel heard. We want to maybe put in some dry humor there just to get them laughing, get them kind of eased up a little bit, and then transition right back into your process. So the two parts of the sales process are setting the appointment and then closing the deal. So we'll use the first one, like I said, how long does this take? You could respond something like this, and then we'll kind of do a role play. Honestly, Mr. Smith, it should only take about 10 to 15 minutes for me to go over what you're eligible for and answer any questions that you have. But don't worry, the less questions you have, the better. Do you think tomorrow at 1 p.m. works, or do we have to do later in the day around 2:30? So you can see that I addressed what they said, I answered their question, I threw in a little humor in there that makes them feel good because if they have less questions, it's going to be less time for them. So they're kind of on that, okay, no big deal, this shouldn't be too bad, and I'm going right to the question. So I'm addressing their concern. The key here is that you're not giving them enough time to respond. So their concern they brought up to me was how long does this take? So I as an agent have to recognize that they're on a tight schedule, maybe they're busy, or maybe they just don't feel this is valuable enough to put on their calendar. Let me address those concerns, let them know about 10 to 15 minutes it could take, but it could be quicker, so the less questions you have, the better. Kind of gets them laughing a little bit. So do you think tomorrow at 1 or 2:30 would be better for you? And you're just going right into it. It seems very flawless, seems very seamless, and I'm going right back into my presentation, or in this case, my pitch, which is to be setting the appointment. Now, if you're handling this and you're trying to close the deal on the phone, honestly, Mr. Smith, same thing applies. This should only take about 10 to 15 minutes. We just want to see what you're eligible for, answer any questions. Now, like I said in the beginning, do you have any medical or any medical history or any problems in the last 5 years? And you're just going right into your presentation. Now, of course, everyone's presentation is different, so I'm kind of using some variables there. But you, again, want to address, respond, laugh, and then transition. Another very common objection that we get is, what is this about? Or something like, I don't remember filling this out, or what is this again? Or somebody already called me about that. That's a very common one, and that's typically just a delay tactic. You can look at rebuttals as just a smoke screen. People know what they filled out. most of the time. They know why they filled it out and they know when they filled it out. But when somebody calls them to act on it, they can become a little uncomfortable and like we've all experienced before, sometimes getting an unsolicited phone call that you even to know you solicited it, it can be a little bit of an annoyance. So we just want to address it and be real with our customers and our prospects and our leads, etc. So when someone says, what is this about? Just let them know exactly what it was and be straight and upfront with them. This was a form that you filled out about either A, the state-regulated life insurance programs, the state-regulated final expense programs, the state-regulated Medicare programs, or whatever exact vertical you're selling. This was about that form you filled out a few days ago, a couple hours ago, a few minutes ago on the state-regulated final expense plans. It was to help you pay for your barrier insurance anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 from what you saw. This was that postcard, or this was that form, or this was that online, depending on what type of lead you're purchasing, where you put your phone number and your address down just to verify your phone number is XYZ and your address is XYZ, correct? So that's kind of a mouthful, but basically what we're doing here is addressing their concern. We're letting them know exactly what this is. Hey, yeah, Mr. Smith, this was that form you filled out on Facebook a few days ago where it asked you a few different questions about what type of insurance you were looking for, and you agreed that you wanted to get some burial insurance up to $35,000. You put your phone number down as 123456 and your address as 123 Main Street. Does that sound correct? So I'm seamlessly transitioning back into my process by acknowledging their question and responding to it, and then just giving them a little bit of a nugget of information to let them know I have their address and phone number, so I must be somebody calling with some sort of qualification, and that typically is enough to get them back on track. And then by saying, this is your address, correct? They'll say yes. Perfect, sounds good. Now these plans, and then you can go into your sales process. So again, we want to be almost looking at rebuttals as part of the conversation. You want to anticipate them when they come so you don't seem thrown off when they're asked. Another one or two here we'll do, and then I'll go and wrap this video up, is when you talk to people after the appointment's set and you're actually in the presentation, is the very, very common of, I can't afford this, that's too expensive, can we get any cheaper? That whole entire, that smoke screen, because a lot of times it's not that they can't afford it, they typically just haven't seen enough value in it yet. And it's your job as an agent to deliver that value. So if you have a client who says, hey, this all sounds great and I'd love to do it, but I just can't afford it. Two things here in addition to your rebuttal: make sure as an agent that you are really focusing on the why. When you first get to the meeting, don't just say hello, shake their hand, and jump into your presentation. I mean, you've heard this from your mentors, from people like us. You've seen this in training videos. You want to have these rapport time where you're building rapport with these customers and you're digging to find their why. When you know a reason, whether it's they have family, they have a husband or a wife, they have kids, they recently lost a loved one, these are questions that are personal questions that you want to seek out from your prospects, because later on in the presentation, when they say that I cannot afford anything, you have the reasons on why that they want this in the first place, and you can help them reflect back onto why they filled that form out. So if somebody says I cannot afford anything, or how much is this? This is too expensive. Mr. Smith, that is a great question. Just so you know, the information that we're going over today, the information we're going to go over tomorrow, it's completely free of charge. I'm not going to charge you to come out here and show you what you're eligible for. Keep in mind, these are state-regulated, low-cost life insurance plans that are available to you regardless of your medical history and the things you've gone through in your medical past. Although I don't know quite yet what you're eligible to receive, which is why we need to finish the next few minutes of this meeting, I want you to know that these are low-cost options. I just want to finish the presentation so I can show you what you're eligible for and you can have the information that you requested. Then I can close out your request and we can have a conversation at a later date. So again, that's a little more of a mouthful, and some of these things here I'm kind of paraphrasing, but you want to make sure that when it comes to the affordability, that's a vulnerable thing for a customer to be saying. You want to let them know that you acknowledge the fact that they have a concern. You respond to them by letting them know, hey, listen, don't worry, my time in this meeting is completely free of charge. You're not being charged a single penny right now. The only time you'd actually have to pay anything is if you decided that one of these plans fit your budget and we went ahead and submitted an application. Even in that case, and we're kind of setting ourselves up for the close, even in that case, when we submit an application, you don't actually get charged until that application is approved. What that looks like is I'm going to send your application off to the insurance company that you choose best fits you and your family's needs. they're going to give me a call in about a week or so, letting me know that you're approved. I can give you a call back, and at that point, we can discuss what works best for you financially. Does that make sense? Let them agree, because it's a very professional way to say that. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome, sounds good. And then you can go on into your process. You can mention different things. When it comes to the low-cost life insurance plans, you can let them know these are state regulated. You can let them know on some basic things just in terms of your contracts that you represent 5, 10, 15, 20 of the biggest insurance companies and the most well-known and renowned insurance companies in the country. And you can put yourself more in a position to optimize the conversation by letting them know, we're going to look at 15 of the best insurance companies in America. We're going to find which one not only is the best in terms of coverage, but is also the most cost effective for you and your budget. So you want to make sure you're doing these things and addressing their concerns. So a more fluid way of saying that is, Mr. Smith, I completely understand your concern. Just so you know, this conversation and the information I'm giving to you today is completely free of charge. The only way you'd ever have to pay any money is if you found that one of these was A, valuable enough, and B, meaningful enough, and C, fits your budget comfortably enough that we would actually go ahead and submit an application off to the insurance company. At that time, they're going to look at your medical history and the stuff we talked about today. They're going to come up with the decision, to be honest, if they even want to approve you or not. Not everybody is eligible. You're building that desire factor. So if they do approve your application, they're going to give me a call and let me know. I'm going to reach out to you, and we can kind of discuss some of the final numbers here and what makes sense for you comfortably. But you don't get charged at all unless you give me a call and let me know that would make sense and that works for you. Is that fair? Perfect. So moving on with the different options we have here, and then you transition into your plan or your sales process. Last but not least, I think that you do come across some people, whether they're veterans or police officers or retired union, that say, hey, I already have my burial insurance, all that stuff is covered. The military pays for mine, or my union, or whatever the case may be. I get it free through work. You want to address the fact that when people own something through work, they don't own it themselves. If they leave their job or lose their job, even temporarily, that coverage is revoked. So if you have an employer-sponsored life insurance program, you only have that life insurance while you're employed at that employer. And stress them to the importance of youthfulness is what makes life insurance cheap. Every year that you decide to wait, it gets more expensive. You don't want to wait until you're 65 and retired to get life insurance, because it's going to be about 4 to 6 times the cost of it if you get it today at 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60. So you can really use that to your advantage. But just letting them know some statistics and some facts. So if I use the veteran as an example, just so you know, according to the VA's website, the VA only reimburses you for burial expenses up to $1,592. So not even quite $2,000. The average cost of a burial in today's numbers, including inflation, is going to be anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000. So essentially, your family's going to have that burden of that remaining $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, because the VA is only going to reimburse them a very small portion of that. And these are just conversations. If you guys notice, the way that I'm speaking is very fluent, it's very conversational, it's very natural. You want these customers that you're speaking with to recognize that you do have their best interest at heart, that you are a trained professional, that you are a licensed agent, and you represent some of the best companies in America. And by breaking it down and giving them the facts and statistics to help them make a better decision, their trust in you is only going to be that much greater. So I don't want this video to be too much longer here. If you guys do want our rebuttal script, I can go ahead and send it to you. We have about 5 or 6 different rebuttals that you can use, some of the more common ones. And of course, the more you practice, a lot of the stuff can be plug and play, meaning that you can change some of the wording to fit different scenarios. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do have any questions about our lead platform, reach out to me via email. Again, that was colton@fextoolkit.com, or you can go onto our website, insurancetoolkits.com, and start a live chat with us at any time. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great rest of your day.